We've had the anniversary of Superman, Batman, but now it's time to celebrate the anniversary of Robin. What's up, YouTubers of the world? MegaGeekMixer here to give you guys my review on Robin's 80th anniversary book. And guys, what a celebration. I was so glad when I heard they announced the anniversary of Robin and they were going to do a book on it, because let's face it, when you are the first ever sidekick in superhero comics to date, you deserve to have an anniversary. And definitely so, Robin does. After everything that he's been to us, he became this little kid here that was created to draw in younger viewers. It worked. And not only that, he became a pop culture icon that the mantle started being passed down on to younger heroes to take over the role after the previous ones grew into their own role. But what I loved was how they celebrated by showing us stories from all these different writers and artists, all of some who have worked together before, come back together for this one shot to tell a one short story of any of the Robins. And the Robins we had were Dick Grayson, Jason Todd, Tim Drake, Stephanie Brown, and Damian Wayne. Now, Stephanie Brown was very brief, so people don't tend to put her on the list. I'm even one of those people. I tend to look at it as just Nightwing, Red Hood, Red Robin, and Robin, and you all know their identities. But before I go into what I thought of this book, let me give you guys my list on how I rank the Robins to me, because I never got a chance to, and no perfect time than now. And my rank goes like this: Grayson, Damian Wayne, Tim Drake, and Jason Todd. That's my list on how I rank them. Just know though, even though my listed like that does not mean I dislike any of the Robins who are at the bottom of the list, because I love each of them in general. And yeah, if my list is the same as yours, cool. If not, that's cool too. I respect y'all's opinion, just as I hope y'all respect mine. But guys, boy did I love this book. It just brought so much joy to me to look at these books and remind me of the characters these guys were as Robin and who they became when they grew up. Some of them, not the best relationship with Bruce. Some of them, more of a complicated relationship with Bruce, which makes sense, because when it comes to Bruce, he just tends to push people away. That's just who he is. But boy, what I definitely loved was, for one, some of the short stories we were given. Those are with really Jason Todd and Stephanie Brown. One of them, for Stephanie Brown, it dealt with her during her first time as Robin and her trying to adjust to it all, mostly, and trying to adjust to having to wear the Robin suit. And because she was wearing Tim Drake's Robin suit, and it wasn't working out for her because it gave her wedgies and stuff. And basically, the story was about how she got her suit, the one with the skirt and everything, and how her mindset was, and how she thought Batman didn't trust her and everything, and she continued to do things her way, never listening to his way, which, as you guys know, got her fired. For some of y'all who do know, if y'all knew, Stephanie Brown was the fourth official Robin, really, but it was very brief, and it was only brief because Batman fired her after she disobeyed his orders one too many times on the field. But the second short story was with Jason Todd. And you guys, if any of you guys know about Jason Todd, he was Robin. Fans didn't like him, so they killed him off, but he came back as Red Hood, but people liked him more as Red Hood. And I can't disagree with that. And what makes him different from the other Robins is he was raised in the streets and everything. And when he first met Batman, he tried to steal the tires off the Batmobile. And man, I'll never forget that. But what I loved about this story here with Jason Todd is that it was showing that even though he and Bruce right now still don't have the best of relationships, they still care and love each other for it. Because and then this story, it showed us how Jason Todd, when he was younger, gave Bruce a birthday present. It was his father's old watch, and he was trying to fix it. He hadn't completely fixed it when he gave it to him. As you can see right here, he was saying something about like how you had to wind it or something. And then showed us, because this was showing us from present and past. Here in the past, and right here at the edge right here, you see in the present, he's in Crime Alley where the Batmobile is parked, and he's putting something on there. He puts the He puts the present back on there, and this time the watch is all fixed up now, because that's what when he was little did. He took the watch back so he could fully fix it, and when he got it fully fixed, he would give it to Bruce, and that's exactly what happened. And boy, did I love this one. It really shows that even though Jason and Bruce have their difference of opinion and don't exactly have much of the best relationship, they still care for each other and love each other, just in their very own cold, distant way. And yeah, that can happen in families sometimes, especially a Bat family. You know how it goes with them. But it was still great to see that. Now let's go on into Tim Drake's story. And first off, the first story, if you guys know this art, if you guys have been reading the Batman and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles books, y'all know what this art is. Y'all know whose art this is. It was great to see his art again. And what I loved about this story with his art was that it was Tim Drake in school being talking to with the new principal or someone who, when he was saying he wants to go into law enforcement for college and stuff, and that guy and that principal was saying law enforcement is good, but you should add extracurricular activity to your resume so it can be even better, or you can find even better jobs. And the funny thing about it is that he lists off all sorts of extracurricular activities for school that he does in his double life as Robin, which the principal doesn't know about. And during that entire time reading that story, I was just laughing and saying, if you only knew all the things you've mentioned, he is already doing it or has been doing it. It was so funny. I just couldn't help but laugh. But I think my favorite story from Tim Drake wasn't that one, but was this second one called Red Robin and Boy Wonders. Why is this one my favorite for Tim Drake? Because it showed him interacting with each of the Robins that came before him and after him, meaning both Grayson, Jason, and Damian, because he was wanting to talk to him about what he's looking to do with his life in the next stage of it. Because this story was actually the story. Let me go back to it here. Come on. Yeah. This story right here was the story they were telling us of where Drake was before the first issue of Detective Comics in the DC Rebirth era, when Batman was creating that team with Batwoman, Clayface, Cassandra Cain, and Red Robin, and Spoiler, aka Stephanie Brown. Yeah, before he was thinking about should he go to Ivo University, and this is basically him being given advice by each of the Robins and if he should. And here's the funny thing, in the end, it was Damian Wayne who made him finally see what he needed to do, showing that he was going to go to Ivo University, but not before helping Batman get this team together and start getting them pushed along so that when all is said and good, he can go on off to college and know that the team's all in good hands and Batman's hands and everything. But even still, what I loved about that story was how, like, he talked with each of the Robins, and it showed each of the Robins and their relationship with Tim Drake. Now, the more stable one he has is with Grayson and everything. Well, which is no surprise there. When you look at Jason Todd and Damian, the way they are, I don't think that his relationship, Tim Drake's relationship with them, will ever be that civil as it is with Grayson's. But it's still great nonetheless, and I loved it. It showed how each of them all viewed him, and especially the one where it was Damian, when he went to Damian to tell him about what was going on. Damian, in his usual way, is insulting him. But here is what I loved about this one and why it was my favorite interaction of the two. Even though he was insulting him, Tim Drake, unlike Jonathan Kent, can't see past Damian's insults and what Damian's really trying to say. But that's just because Damian, like always, gotta work on the social skills a little more. Because, well, he's a jerk, but he's always gonna be a jerk. Just need to work on showing it a more less jerkish, insulting way when you're trying to help someone. But he's shown that before. Just with Tim Drake, it's kind of hard to, because you all know their history together. But now let's go on into my two favorite Robins. We're going to start off with Grayson, because with Damian Wayne, there's a little connection going into the next Teen Titans book. Well, after the Teen Titans book after the next one. It's actually an annual. I'll get to that here in a minute. But going into Grayson, I loved how they gave us four different stories about him, four different short stories about him. And the first one was when he left to become his own man, knowing he can't be Robin anymore. In that story, he had turned 18, but he was still wearing the Robin suit. But now that he was becoming his own man and stuff, he couldn't listen to Bruce anymore on the field as Robin. And what I liked about this one is that it was a little more less antagonist, less how to best way to put it, bad parting ways. Because as you know, with Grayson and Batman, when Grayson started to move out of Robin role to become Nightwing, so most of the times it didn't end so well with their relationship when he went out to become Nightwing. It kind of had a bad taste or bad terms left out in them. But this one does it in a more understanding way, where at the end, even though Grayson is leaving, he says, I'm always going to love you, and I'm always going to remember everything you've taught me. You've done everything to help me get past my parents' death, which is something you couldn't do. And when he left, he said he'll always be there for him. He'll always love Bruce. But what Bruce did here was let him know that he wanted this to happen, but he did it in a way that makes him look distant. But instead, Grayson can see right through him and know that he's doing it out of the goodness of his heart, even if he won't really show it in the way you would think he would show it. And then it went on to him being Nightwing, how he is able to rescue people even without Batman's help. And at the ending of that short story, rescuing this woman who just had a baby who was when she was trapped in a car and asking to name it right after him. How about that? But I think the real cool thing from it was where the last, or better yet, not the last two, because this one here was all about him showing how great of a leader he is and how everything he's learned from Bruce has come in handy, because he helps the Titans outsmart Hive and Damien Dark, and actually outsmarts them again by disguising himself as a Hive soldier, but getting the better of him by surprising him, knowing that Dark was doing all that as a distraction to get a diamond, and he was dressed up as one of the Hive members and got it back and left without any of them going after him, showing how much of a badass Grayson is. But I think also what was my favorite part was in his time as Agent 37 and Agent Spiral, was when he was taking on a protege, and during his time he was remembering all the lessons Bruce taught him, but and all the lessons he taught him, he was teaching to this new protege, but in the opposite direction of what Bruce was telling him, until it came to the final one where Bruce told him the final lesson is to ignore your mentor, do what you do best, be you. Boy, did I love that. That was great. That was awesome. Showing that, yeah, no matter how bossy Bruce can be, he always wants people to be their own person and everything. And that right there shows it. But now we finally go into Damian Wayne. But before I go into what Batman and Robin's relationship on the father and son side, we must take a minute to enjoy the fact that we had both the writer and artist of Super Sons return together for just this one more time for the short story of Jonathan Kent writing an essay on how Damian's his best friend, and how he sees through everything Damian does and still brings out the good in Damian, the kid side to him. And I also love the part that while he says he'll never admit to Damian he's pretty cool, Damian does find out. But seeing this scene right here, oh, did I love it. Boy, it was great to see that again. Super Sons was one of the best things out of DC Rebirth, and I just pray and hope one day we get him back some way in some form. Bendis, why did you have to age him up? But that aside, then going finally back into the last story that's about Damian, it's showing him and Bruce, with us, the readers, seeing what they're thinking inside their minds. And no surprise, or I think maybe a surprise, is that they both are thinking in a similar, different manner of each other. And they are totally misunderstanding each other. Why? Because they're not speaking to each other. And even when they do, what they truly want to say, they can't say. And in the end, they're just being their stubborn selves. Because right now, as you guys know in the comics, their relationship isn't that great right now. Not as it was when Peter Tomasi and Patrick had them back in New 52 and how they were growing as father and son. They've become more distant, mostly because Damian's finally becoming his own man and he needs to find his own way of crime fighting and stuff. And Bruce does want that, but at the same time, he just doesn't want his son to go so down dark that it scares him. But here's the funny thing about it. Near the end, when they stop a crime, they are both admitting to themselves that maybe the way they're doing things is wrong. But when it's all said and done, they get this scene right here, this panel right here shows that they get a chance to say something to each other. They're like saying, say something, but they're saying it to themselves, not each other. It's right there showing that just like Batman, Damian Wayne, not good with emotions. They don't know how to express themselves, and that's the problem. And man, all I say is I hope in some way they find a way to fix that, because this last storyline right here was a little prelude to what's coming in Teen Titans. Yeah, this story will go on in the second Teen Titans annual, where Bruce is going to finally find out what Damian Wayne's been doing with his new Titans, with the prison, wiping out their minds, and you know Bruce ain't going to like this, that it's going to blow things up, and those two are just going to have one more heated argument. And from the looks of it, if y'all have seen the synopsis for it, it's teasing that Damian is no longer going to be Robin. He's going to be fired from it. Oh boy, only time will tell. And all I just say is I hope some way, somehow, they are able to finally realize how they've been misunderstanding each other and where both of their flaws are, not trying to talk to each other. Although I think that's going to be a little more harder now that Alfred is dead. But either way, guys, boy, did I love this book. Brought back so many memories of why I love Robin and why he's such a pop cultural icon for each and every one of them. The acrobat, Grayson, the street kid, Jason Todd, the detective and techno-genius, Tim Drake, and the assassin, Damian Wayne. They all have a special place in my heart now and forever. Love them to death. But in any case, guys, I'm going to leave it all at that. And if you're enjoying my videos, all you got to do is click that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon to be notified of when I make more videos. And until then, MegaGeekMixer, signing out.